Alright guys, so today's video is on a pair of true wireless earbuds that I decided to cover mainly because there's two things that really stood out about these. And one is a decision that the company decided to make that I can't understand. I don't know why they did this, but I don't want to get into that right off at the beginning of the video, mainly because I want to explain why they may have done this, and I also want to get your opinion as well. And then the other thing is, when I went to look up some reviews on this, I noticed, especially in a lot of the written reviews, most of them seem like ads, like they were just bullet pointing the same features and somehow not mentioning this one big issue that I had with these. And so it just seemed a little weird. So the pair that we're going to check out are the Hypure ones. This obviously is not the retail box. If you do purchase these, it comes in this very tiny box. Now, the reason they sent this large one is they're trying to showcase the three different colors that these come in. You can see that there is a white model, a pink, and a black. Now, all three of these have a matte finish to them. The case and the earbuds are very sleek as far as the feel goes. And overall, they're a very comfortable pair of earbuds. And I do like the case because it is small. It's easy to throw in your pocket. But now we really need to see what all these have to offer for the $70 price tag. Now, I didn't get a code as far as to offer you guys, but I did see that there was another creator that had one. I will put that in the description below as well. So if you use it, I believe you save 20%. So you can actually pick these up for around $55. Now, as far as some of the technology that's in these, one thing that I definitely want to point out, because I think a lot of people get confused if they're shopping for earbuds and they may be looking for noise canceling, and if they see the words passive noise canceling, they just assume that the earbuds have that. Now, this company does advertise passive noise canceling, but all that is just the seal that you get with the ear tips themselves. The product itself is not doing anything digitally, or there's no kind of noise canceling technology in these. So don't think that you're buying a pair of active noise canceling earbuds. But as far as the technology that these do have, they do have Bluetooth 5.0. They don't have aptX playback, but they do have AAC and SBC. And as far as any kind of connection or dropout issues, I actually didn't have any with these. And I also noticed that it did really well with media. So I didn't have any kind of lag with movies or videos. Now, I did have a slight lag when it came to gaming, but for a pair that you can pick up for around $55, this is definitely one you can use for all different types of media. Now, as far as the drivers that they're using, I was surprised to see that they are using 12.4 millimeter drivers. In my opinion, I think that is a fairly large driver to find in an earbud like this. So that definitely contributes to the sound that you're getting from these, but we will talk about that when we get to the sound of these earbuds. Now, as far as what you're getting inside the box, you do get the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips. And then as far as the charging cable, they've included a USB-C cable. Now, this is the only way to charge these because the case is not a Qi wireless charging case. But speaking of the charging, battery life is also pretty interesting because if you open the packaging and you look at the instruction manual, it actually says it only gets somewhere between 2 to 3 hours on a single charge. But if you look at their website and actually what I got from testing these, you can actually get somewhere between 4 to 4.5 hours. Now, the 4.5 hours is if you're going to listen to these at around 50%. But with the charging case, you're going to get around 18 hours total. Now, I have seen much better battery life on other earbuds. Again, I think for most people, the 4 hours is going to get them through a day, and the 18 hours on a case usually will get most people through a week. But for heavy users, this isn't going to be a pair that I would recommend because the battery life is a little weak. Now, if you do pick them up and they are dead, it does have the fast charge feature where a 5-minute charge will get you around 50 minutes of use. So I do like when companies include this, just simply because if you're trying to get out the door to go to the gym or go for a run or something and your earbuds are dead, just being able to get almost an hour's worth of use on a 5-minute charge just can be beneficial at times. Now moving over to looking at the case itself, like I said earlier, I feel like it has a very nice matte finish. You can see the company's logo up top. Now on the back where the hinge is located, this actually just looks like they pulled off the AirPods hinge and just placed it on the back of this case. It just has the same material and looks exactly the same. Now underneath that, you can see the USB-C input for charging. And then around on the front, you have the single indicator light. And that's how you gauge how much battery life is left on the case. Now when you open up the lid, the case also has the pairing button. So if you need to pair it to another device, you just place the earbuds in and press and hold. And then the earbuds themselves kind of has a blend between the AirPod design and the AirPods Pros. I feel like the bud part itself looks like the AirPods Pros. And then obviously you have the stem of the actual AirPods. But as far as the controls, now this is the most interesting part about this product. And this is the one thing that I can't figure out why the company decided to go the route that they did. Because you guys know I will complain if a product doesn't give you control over everything, if it doesn't give you volume control, or if it only lets you skip forward a track but not backwards. But how about this? Hypure decided to just not put any kind of controls on this earbud at all. There's no touch controls, there's no button controls, there's just no way to control these other than pulling out your phone or just using your smartwatch to do whatever controls you need it to do. I have never seen that on a product, and I kept trying to think of why a company would decide to do this. In fact, I even talked to my wife. I was like, why would you think they would do this? And she said, honestly, that kind of a thing is not a big deal to her because she doesn't use controls on earbuds. She just simply watches TV shows and movies and things like that while she's doing other things. So she really just places an earbud in her ear and just kind of goes about her business. She doesn't use anything on the actual earbud. And so that also made me think, well, what if you needed to grab a pair of earbuds for your kids in the back seat? And you obviously don't want them touching and pausing and doing things that they don't know that they're doing. So I can see it benefiting there. And I can also see if you're somebody in the gym or somebody that works out and maybe you need to adjust your earbuds quite a bit, that you don't have to worry about accidental touches. And to me, this is still all kind of a reach because I really still can't figure out not having controls on an earbud. That's already just like a huge negative in my book. But I still plowed through. I still went through testing these just so I can give you guys my full opinion. But as far as the microphones on here, I think this is actually an area they did do a decent job with. It picked up my voice very clearly. I even felt like in noisy environments, it did a pretty decent job with blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the Hypure ones. I think overall it does a pretty decent job of picking up my voice. I think during phone calls, most people on the other line will not have any complaints, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because like I said earlier, these are using 12.4 millimeter drivers. So I was kind of expecting a very dynamic sound, or especially a pair that just kind of focused on the low end. And I was actually surprised that there's more focus on the mids and the highs. This is a much cleaner sounding earbud. Now there is a very nice thump in the low end, but to get that, I actually had to put the earbuds in and make sure that they were pushed in quite a bit. It's not like shoving them in my ear canal, but if I were to just place the earbud in and just kind of slightly adjust it, I noticed that it was kind of hard to get a really good seal on these. So that definitely affected the bass, but that also kind of goes back to finding the right ear tips as well, because the ones that came on them right out of the box, I noticed were slightly smaller. So as soon as I moved up to the larger size, that definitely helped seal the earbuds and it improved the bass performance. So the sound signature overall, if you were kind of looking at this on an EQ spectrum, you'd have the bass maybe pushed up a quarter of the way, maybe even half. Mids are definitely pushed forward. I felt like vocalists really stood out, and it really didn't matter which genre I was listening to. And the same thing kind of goes for the treble. The treble was just really clean. It had nice bright details. It didn't really get close to the point of being harsh, but because the bass is not like super powerful, it just had a very nice balance overall. So really the only complaint that I could see from anybody is if you're a bass head. It definitely does not have that overpowering bass, and maybe if you're somebody that's just looking for a flat response type of sound signature, it's not delivering that because the mids are pushed forward and the treble is also boosted quite a bit as well. But when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, this is another area I was impressed at how open it sounded. It kind of made me feel like I was in a larger room, and I had no issues with being able to tell where different sounds and instruments were coming from. So sound-wise, I definitely approve of these, especially being able to pick them up for around $55. But not having controls and having a very weak battery life, I think is going to turn off a lot of people. The sound definitely helps save these to some aspect, but this is a very hard pair to just go out and say, yes, I recommend them to everybody for, again, the number of reasons that I listed, but at least they sound good, and at least it's not costing an arm and a leg like a pair of AirPods, which I still think they sound better than. But, you know, it all depends on what it is you're looking for, but I wanted to share this because this was the first time I've seen a pair not have controls, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this is probably the last time I will see a pair not have controls. I really can't understand that. But if you guys have any idea why a company might do this, just leave that in the comments section below. But guys, that's my video on the Hypure ones. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.